Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over how I think the Giants are one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. So, the Giants, they beat the Seahawks yesterday 29-20 to improve to 2-3 on the season. Now, you see the title of this video, and you probably think, the Giants aren't good, what am I talking about? But I think the Giants are actually a team that's being slept on by a lot of people. Because the Giants, they've been improving each week, and there was a lot of good things they did in their win over the Seahawks. And that makes me think the Giants can continue to improve as a team and be a team that potentially can contend for a playoff spot. But a big reason the Giants have been looking better as the season has progressed is Daniel Jones. He's been playing well. The defense has also looked great. And while you might not think Daniel Jones is great, if you break down every game the Giants have played, Daniel Jones has actually been pretty good for the Giants so far this season. Starting off in week 1, where the Giants lost to the Vikings 28-6. This was definitely the Giants' worst game of the season. They played a horrible game all around. Daniel Jones was awful, and he deserves a lot of the blame on this game, but not the entire thing. As he threw for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns, and while he does deserve a good chunk of the blame, the rest of the Giants team didn't do much either. As they didn't run the football effectively, the defense was awful, and the Giants were just really bad. Now, when you consider the fact that the Vikings are one of the best teams in the NFL right now, it makes it a little bit better, but it was still a horrible loss for the Giants. Now, you get to week 2, where the Giants lost to the Commanders 21-18, and this is the game the Giants should have and could have won. Because the Giants, I think they would have won this game if their kicker Graham Gano didn't pull his hamstring on the opening kickoff. Because that forced the Giants to miss an extra point with their punter, and then have to go for 2 on their next 2 touchdowns, and also have to go for it on 4th down. And I think if they would have kicked some of those extra points, and had been able to kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down late in the game, the Giants definitely would have won this game. But in this game, Daniel Jones played a lot better than he did in week 1. He threw for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Giants' defense was also very good, not allowing a single touchdown. Then you move on to week 3. The Giants beat the Browns 21-15. Giants, they won this game, but then the Browns, they're not great, but Daniel Jones, once again, continued to improve. The defense also played very well, but Daniel Jones threw for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the defense allowed just 217 yards and had 8 sacks. Then moving on to week 4, where the Giants lost to the Cowboys 20-15. This wasn't a great game for the Giants, especially offensively. They didn't score a touchdown, but once again, Daniel Jones played a solid game. He threw for 281 yards and had an interception, but that came on a Hail Mary late in the game. And then the Giants' defense, they put them in a position to win, allowing just 20 points. And if the Giants scored a singular touchdown, they would have won this game. And this is also an improvement for the Giants, because last year, when they played against the Cowboys, they lost 40-0 and then 49-17. So while I don't think the Cowboys are as good as they were last year, this is still improvement for the Giants being able to compete with a team that is probably a lot better than them. And then you move to yesterday, week 5 against the Seahawks, where they beat the Seahawks 29-20. This was a great game for the Giants. Their best game of the year by far. They scored a season high 29 points. Daniel Jones looked good. He threw for 257 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Giants were also able to finally hit some big throws down the field. And to make the game even better for Daniel Jones, he did it all without his top receiver, Malik Nabers. As Nabers was out with a concussion, so not only did Daniel Jones play very well against a tough Seahawk defense, he did it without his top target. And Daniel Jones, he was a big reason the Giants won yesterday. And the Giants' defense was also another big factor. As the defense allowed just 20 points, but really the defense allowed 13 points because 7 points for the Seahawks came on a scoop and score. But the Giants, they got their best win of the season, and it came against a good Seahawk team. So, it might look like I'm trying to make excuses for the Giants, but I'm really not trying to say they should have won this game. I'm just trying to point out how close the Giants actually are to being 4-1 as opposed to 2-3. And if the Giants were 4-1 instead of 2-3, they'd be viewed a lot differently, and Daniel Jones would be viewed a lot differently if he continued to play exactly how he was. But Daniel Jones, he's been a big part of the Giants on why they've been very close to winning some games. And I don't know if people are ready for this conversation, but I believe Daniel Jones is playing like a top 10 quarterback in the first 5 weeks of the season. As he's thrown for 1,138 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 picks, plus he is 9th in EPA or expected points added, and 5th in passing EPA. But Daniel Jones, he's been good for the Giants. He's done what they've needed him to do. He's made good decisions, gotten the ball to his playmakers on the outside. And look what he can do when you get him a good offensive line, a good play caller, and a true number 1 receiver. He's looked like a good quarterback. Now, while Daniel Jones has been very good for the Giants, so has their defense. The defense, is playing extremely well, and defensive coordinator Shane Bowen deserves a lot of credit, as the Giants currently have a defense that is top third in the league in a lot of major categories, plus they have a great pass rush leading the league with 22 sacks. But if Daniel Jones and the Giants defense can continue to keep up this level of play, which I do think is sustainable, the Giants are a team to watch as we get deeper into the season. Now, I'm not saying the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl, but I do think the Giants could contend for a playoff spot and potentially the division. Another reason I think the Giants could make the playoffs is they made the playoffs in 2022, but this Giants team is miles better than the team they had in 2022. As the offensive line is a lot better, the defense is a lot better, and overall, I just feel like they're in a lot better position to compete against some of the top teams in the NFL. Now, this video is either going to age terribly, and I'm going to look like a hopeful Giants fan. I am a Giants fan, but I tried to look this in the clear lens. Now, this video is either going to age great, and I'm going to look like a genius, or it's going to age terribly, and I'm just going to look like a hopeful Giants fan. And while I am a Giants fan, I did try to look at this without being biased, and I really do think the Giants are a team that's a lot better than people think they are. But let me know in the comments, do you guys think the Giants are an underrated team and one of the most underrated teams in the NFL and could potentially get into the playoffs? Or do you guys still think the Giants are bad? I think the Giants are one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. Daniel Jones has been playing at a great level for the Giants, and if he can keep this up, the defense can continue to play well. The Giants can make the playoffs. But let me know in the comments if you agree with me or disagree. I'd love to hear your opinion. But that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.